Hi, hola. I'm the Humble Apprentice. I'm your Friday host. Welcome back to Witches of the Moon. This is season 12, week 18, and this week we're going to be talking about wildcrafting, do's and don'ts. And I'm actually out here in a little prairie area where I come and gather what is growing during the different seasons. Different plants and flowers and different parts of the flowers or plants or trees can be gathered at different times. So let's walk over here where I have some of the things that I carry with me. I have a little canvas bag that I carry everything in. Be very careful where you walk when you're out and you're gathering. But so I carry a canvas bag to carry whatever materials I find, shells, nets, seeds. But I also have a pruner that opens up and closes like an army knife, and a very sharp blade, and some offering. When I don't have fertilizer, which is what I have here, I actually carry also peanuts or some kind of nuts, depending on where you're going and what is around. Because if I feed the wildlife, then they in turn will fertilize the soil with their droppings, with their scat. Okay, so their poop is very beneficial for the soil. So anyway, that's a couple things that 4 things if you count the bag that I carry with me. And now I will pause and we will walk somewhere else. So what I like to do when I enter a new area is I try to feel the energy of the place and see if it's okay for me to come and gather materials. Most of the time, if I am called to walk into or find materials in a space, that's because nature is calling and drawing me towards a space. And I carefully walk in, and before I gather anything, I make an offering to the plants, to the land. And as I am looking at the plants and seeing what is around, what's growing, I take pictures of everything. And then I go home and I identify. And I make 1,000% certain what it is I'm looking at, what kind of plant is growing in that area. So, for instance, here we have garlic mustard, which actually is a weed, and it's considered a very invasive species, but it's edible. And just take note that you have to be careful when things are called edible, because that means that they don't kill people, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to distress your body, because everybody reacts to wild plants differently. And what is, harmless to me might cause you irritation or give you diarrhea or, irritate your stomach or irritate your skin when you're picking it. I like to feel the plants. I like to feel the soil. But if you have sensitive skin, you can definitely wear gloves either gardening gloves or other type of something to protect your skin. Also, when you're walking, be careful if you walk off the path, not to walk and trample on anything that might be coming up at that point in the season, because the leaves tend to cover the shoots, and just be careful when you're walking. And here we have starry fall Solomon seal. It's kind of long, but it's apparently a very useful plant. You can eat the young shoots and the leaves. The roots are like potato, from what I've read, but you have to soak them in alkaline water to remove the the properties that actually are the healing properties, so that you just are left with the starch. You can use the entire plant, from the berries that will grow from the little flowers. They have very high in vitamin C, and they were used instead of oranges to cure or prevent scurvy. So that is fall Solomon seal right there. And over here we have gooseberry. So berry, I like to use berry branches to make wands. So that one has a lot of thorns on it, so it's very, very protective, and you can use it to make a very protective wand, whether you peel the bark off or not. I would use a larger, older branch, and before I took anything, I would touch the leaves, touch the plant, and ask permission if there's any part of it that I can use in my practice or use to make wands. And then I would make an offering of fertilizer, or whatever I feel called to or need to give the plant as a thank you, as an exchange of my energy for their energy. So here's some more garlic mustard, a lot of it. So even though there's a lot of garlic mustard, if I do take any, I would ask permission. Also, I do like to go into places where it's natural and it hasn't been sprayed by the DNR with pesticides or herbicides or any kind of chemical to prevent these plants from growing, or motherwort or any other prolific herb. Okay, here we have a little stand of nettles, and they are very nutritious, and they're good in tea, and you can use them for protection. There's a lot of valuable things that you can do with nettle. You just have to be careful when you gather nettle, because it does have a lot of little pricklies that will irritate your skin. Now, there are a lot of plants here, but you still don't want to take the whole plant. You want to give the plant, leave enough plant material so that they can continue on their growing season. If you take the tops I would not take past like the first, so I would take past the first big set of leaves, like here, under there, and leave the bottom, because then it could continue and grow some more offshoots from the sides, just like peppermints and all the mints. This doesn't necessarily have a square stalk like the mints do, but there's a lot of videos that identify plants that you can watch and books that you can read, but you also have websites that you can go to. Here in my state, there is a wildflower shrubs and trees that are native to the state that I go to help identify the pictures or the plants that I've photographed. And in many other states have them as well. There is also the DNR website that has a lot of information and a lot of links that help identify different plants that are growing and the month of the year and what's growing in your area at that time, what's blooming, what is toxic, what is dangerous, what is invasive, what is what they're trying to eradicate from the area. Also, different areas have different plants or different types of plants growing nearby. I think where I have found a lot of the variety, a large variety of plants growing together is around rivers or lakes also, because some plants need a lot of water, some plants love a lot of water. Here we have some motherwort, and it's just starting to grow. This is when it's very potent. And here we have a little bramble. I'm not sure if it's blackberry or raspberry. And here we have some cleavers. Okay, so another reason why you need to be 100% certain that you have a certain, the plant that you think you have. I recently found out that dandelion only has one single blossom or flower per plant. And apparently there are a lot of different plants that look like dandelion and even have the seed pods like, dandelion. So be careful. You think you know your plants. Like I thought, oh, I know my dandelion. It's one of the first plants you learn, right? But just do your research. It is very important because you want to be 1,000% certain of what it is if you're going to consume it or if you're going to make a tincture or any kind of medicine from it. Read books, show pictures to somebody who has experience in your area with wildcrafting and natural medicines, or foraging and eating wild plant materials. Like this one, see, I'm pretty sure it's borage, but I'm not 100% sure. So I will be taking some pictures of this stand over here. And I might just have to wait until it blooms to see what the flowers look like before I gather any. I like to go out often in the spring and in the summer because the plants go through their growing cycle very quickly. See, this one is already blooming. I believe that this is ground ivy. And there we have a beautiful violet. And the violets are edible. Just be careful where you gather them and that you don't take too much from one plant. The leaves and the flowers are both edible. And they look beautiful in salads. I had no idea, but there are yellow violets, blue violets, purple violets, and there are combinations. Also, if you find roots and you're lucky that they're still good, you can gather those. Always thank the land and the trees with a gift, even if it's just water. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm the Humble Apprentice. I'm your Friday host. This is Witches of the Moon, and my storage is totally full. So sorry for the quick exit. I hope you enjoy your wildcrafting, have fun, and just enjoy being with the land.